Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 4th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday to ya. Hopefully this energy catches you well, in good spirits. Hopefully you're nice and dry. For me here in Ohio, it was a wet one. It's been a wet one. A decent amount of rain throughout the day. So, that can be a little bit yucky. But overall, I don't mind a cozy day, a cozy rainy day. It just sucks when you have to either drive in it or, just going about the whole to and fro. Also, it's a little bit of an audio ting for the podcast. So, hopefully you don't mind. Bear with me. But no, today was good. It was solid. Work was busy enough, but not too bad. We're still in that slow period. I'm also the thought crossed my mind today about like how the tariff stuff's gonna affect my old job. I'm very curious if we're gonna see maybe less sales this year. But we'll see. I don't know. I'll maybe keep you posted on that. A little econ corner, personal. But yeah, overall though, today was solid. Really no complaints from the work. I scored a couple of Oreo cookies, the golden ones, the vanilla ones, from a coworker. Oh, it was so tempting though because she's like, "Hey, like I have." She was offering them to everyone. She's like, "Hey, do you want some Oreos?" And I wanted some. I wanted some Oreos. I was literally like eyeing a crumb cake, like a coffee cake, like a little snacky in the vending, and I do this thing now. I'm so bad where I just count calories even worse than I ever have, and I see it if it's like over a certain value. I'm like, yep, no way, I can't work that off, and then I'll leave it. But 2 Oreo cookies, okay, all right, yummy. And she's like, do you want some more? Sure, you need the sugar. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'll take a couple of these in my little cups of coffee. I'm okay, thank you. So that was nice. But after work, I went to the gym. Gym was also nice. I feel like the rain and just the end of the week vibes, kind of kept, a good amount of people out of the gym. So that was good. We like a not so busy gym. I will say it was one of those nights where I just couldn't get the main machine I wanted. So that was a bit of a bummer, but I'm flexible, I'm adaptable, so I was able to more or less get the full workout. So it was good. I will say though, I have I don't know if it's from sweating or what have you, but like my eye feels like a little annoyed. I don't know. So I'm annoyed about that. But overall though, today has been good. I would say coming into this episode, if I'm just being full honest, full disclosure, it felt like I like had like this fog, like I was in this funk, and this happens, this is living life. This is doing the things you love even sometimes where you just go, man, like, I don't know what it is. Like I was just in the research part of this and it just was like feeling thick to me. And I just felt like I was like, I'm not getting through this. What can I do? And it sucks because I know a lot of times people tell you, well, hey, it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to give yourself time and blah, 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 blah. But I'm just, that's a flaw for me. I can't do that well. Like if I didn't do this, if I didn't work out, if I didn't do the things that I feel motivated to do these days, I would not be happy. I would be upset. I would be thinking about doing those things now. Like that's how my rewiring works to get me to do a thing is I have to like fully devote myself to it, like in an obsessive way. And this podcast is my baby. It's no different. So here we are, yapping about our day, yapping about ourselves, getting ready to yap about some news. So mea culpas in advance, if I'm a little bit discombobulated there, but I think I can get it. I think we'll be all right. It'll be the usual kind of slop that you get from me. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. I like when I just have phases where I just come through and talk about like what's ailing me. I'm thinking about like, what would you call this segment? Pain point? I don't know. I feel like that sounds good. Pain point. I don't know. Yeah. It would hurt to get shot. Ow. But no. What else did I want to say too before we got started? Before I drank my beer. I feel like you can say that. I feel whatever. I know this is on YouTube and TikTok, but I've said worse, and sadly, I will be saying worse on this episode, unfortunately. But speaking of obsession, and counting calories, my new favorite hobby has become thinking thinking about things that I want to eat, and then going on DeepSeek. That is my AI bot of choice. And I go on there and I say, hey, tell me how many calories are in, like today I did this a couple of times. How many calories are in an Oreo? Because I want to know specifically how many, like in an individual Oreo. And then I can just say, okay, well, I had two. And it will go through a whole blah, 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 and then tell me, oh, you had about, I think like 50. And I was like, okay, cool. Good to know. It's like an approximate. Obviously, you can't take it as gospel. But, excuse me. Next thing I know, I'm like fantasizing about pizza. And then I'm like, well, I wonder how many calories like my usual pizza order would be. And I plug it all in. And then I'm immediately like, I want to just put my phone down, face down. I'm so upset about it. And I'm like, maybe I don't want pizza. It's deranged. I feel warped. But hey, at least I'm using this AI for something. I don't know, whatever. It's still slop. It's still useless fucking shit for the most part. But anyway, I am digressing. Let's go ahead and get into some news. From the Associated Press. Israeli strike on a school in Gaza kills at least 27 people. Palestinian health officials say. Israeli airstrikes killed at least 100 Palestinians across the Gaza Strip on Thursday, including 27 or more sheltering at a school, according to Palestinian medical authorities, in a stepped-up offensive that Israel's military said is intended to pressure Hamas and eventually expel the militant group. The bodies of 14 children and 5 women were recovered from the school in the Tufa neighborhood of Gaza City, and the death toll could rise because some of the 70 wounded sustained critical injuries, said ministry spokesman Zahir al-Wahidi. More than 30 other Gaza residents were killed in strikes on homes in the nearby neighborhood of Shijaya, he said, citing records at Ali Hospital. Now, Israel says that, we were hitting a Hamas command and control center, which is an excuse, a lie, a thing that they have said many times over. Let's see. They also mentioned in this article Israel attacking a United Nations building used as a shelter a day earlier, killing at least 17 people. And once again, they use the same thing, like, well, Hamas was in there. So, and they're very vague about this, but even if you press them, they more or less get to the point where they're just like, I mean, yeah, either Hamas was in that building or the UN was Hamas in the situation, so we blew them up. And it's like, no, dude, these are all war crimes we're talking about here. But let's scroll ahead. Let's see here. I wanted to get to the next part. There was another, was it Thursday? There was more strikes. Overnight strikes by Israel killed at least 55 people in the Gaza Strip, hospital officials said. In the southern city of Han Yunis, officials said the bodies of 14 people had been taken to Nasir Hospital, 9 of them from the same family. The dead included 5 children and 4 women. The bodies of another 19 people, including 5 children aged between 1 and 7 years and a pregnant woman, were taken to the European hospital near Han Yunis, hospital officials said. In Gaza City, 21 bodies were taken to Ali Hospital, including those of 7 children. Let's see. Later in the day, strikes killed 4 more people in Han Yunis, according to Nasser Hospital, and another 2 people were killed in central Gaza and taken to Alaska Hospital. They bring up the March 23rd operation, in which 15 Palestinian medics were killed. We've covered that previously. And then let's see. There was another part of this article that I wanted to get to. They also mentioned, because this is another that Israel will do as if they're being humanitarian in their, ethnic cleansing, is that they will say, hey, we are doing evacuations. You guys have to leave, like, immediately. Or like previously it had been like, oh, there's an app that we'll give you and it maybe will work or not work. But either way, we're going to blow up this whole area, Oh, you might be in this like refugee camp or whatever, we're blowing it all up. Sorry, pack up your tent, get out of here. Oh, you were too late. Oh, we said the wrong thing. Or you go to another area and we blow that up. So this puts people in a lose-lose situation. Also, you just don't want to keep doing this. Like, you don't want to keep leaving and moving and moving. And then, like, once again, you're still afraid for your fucking life. There's so many things about this, but of course people are going to, to flee. They're going to move as best as they can. But once again, there's nothing humanitarian about that from the IDF, from Israel. Let's scroll further. That wasn't the part I really wanted to get to. Netanyahu visits Hungary despite arrest warrant. So I just want to quickly summarize this. Netanyahu, apparently him and Viktor Orban, was he the president of what's it called, Hungary or whatever? They are very buddy. They're friendly. It kind of works out for both of them because it's an ally that Israel can now, can have, and it's not like it's a new relationship, but they are deepening it because at the end of the day, Hungary doesn't really fuck with, they fuck with whoever they really want to fuck with and who fucks with them. They are part of the EU, which I find very, funny and interesting because at the same time, Viktor Orban is very buddy with Vladimir Putin. And so essentially this relationship between Netanyahu and Viktor Orban works out very well because this gives Netanyahu, a person who is charged with war crimes, a place to go hang out, a place to go say, hey, yeah, you guys are my allies. I fuck with y'all. Y'all want to stand up against terrorism. Thank you for helping me, kill Hamas, kill all these people. Yay, thank you so much. And for Viktor Orban, he gets to literally say, like, hey, I have a Jewish friend and he's the prime minister. How could I be anti-Semitic? Like, it is that kind of relationship, which is very strange and surreal to have played out. But I mean, I guess it's working for them, so good for them. Good for those pieces of shit. But anyway, yeah, that's how we're starting it off. Let's move on. To me, this is good news though that we're about to get into. I was kind of pleasantly surprised to see this from CNN. South Korea's impeached president is removed from office 4 months after declaring martial law. So we're finally closing the circuit on this story, at least a bit. I mean, we're going to be coming back to it because Yoon Suk-yeol faces criminal charges. But South Korea's highest court has removed embattled President Yoon Suk-yeol from office, ending months of uncertainty and legal wrangling after he briefly declared martial law in December and plunged the nation into political turmoil. The court's decision on Friday marks Yoon's formal dismissal from the presidency after Parliament voted to impeach him late last year. His removal takes effect immediately, meaning he must now leave the presidential residence and will trigger an election to replace him. So obviously, can we just stop, take a clap, say, hell yeah, we love to see it. It's a remarkable fall from grace for the former prosecutor turned politician who rose to prominence for his role in the impeachment and imprisonment of another president years ago, only to meet the same fate. How ironic. Let's see here. Friday's unanimous ruling delivered by the Constitutional Court's 8 justices described the president's actions as a grave betrayal of the people's trust. In a scathing rebuke, the court's acting head judge, Moon Hyung-bae, pointed to the chaotic night of December 3rd when the president sent troops to parliament and ordered soldiers to drag out lawmakers, noting that such actions cannot be justified. There was no national emergency, said Moon, and such a decree was simply unconstitutional. Yoon's reasoning for that was he said, I have to stop these communists, like this North Korean communist agenda that is going against, like, is coming from our opposition. It's coming from the Democrats or the liberals in South Korean parliament, and like that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm enacting this martial law. But I've said this before. He was doing a temper tantrum, But you have all this fucking power, and you're gonna abuse it because you can. And like, there's been like these long-winded talks about, well, one of his like good confidants, people with him in power, part of his staff, encouraged him to do this and da 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 da. It's like, well, I don't care about that. That doesn't matter. Like, Yoon Suk Yeol is the guy in charge. He's the man in charge. He's the fucking president, and he made the decision. And he's made this decision all the way up until the point of December 3rd. So, and then he also decided to try to be as defiant and obstinate as possible when they came to say, "Hey, we need to take you in. You gotta, see the court. Yada yada yada, blah blah blah." And he kept trying to fight that shit. Like, no, man, he's been a baby throughout this whole thing. He is getting exactly what he deserves. Like, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, full disclosure, I thought he was gonna get off. I thought he was gonna get away with it because that's just what I've seen time and time again. I mean, shit, Donald Trump has, that dude's bulletproof, and you kind of just think guys like this are just somehow magically actually made of steel. So it's nice to see that the actual process goes and people are clear-eyed, because even in this moment you see, like, I've seen so many people actually come out, and more have come out to be like, no, I actually support Yoon Suk Yeol. I actually support this party. Like, what they're doing is terrible. But it's like, I'm glad that like the overall consensus, especially the people who came out on December 3rd that night, and they're like, we can't believe this is happening. Like, this is not democracy. Like, we can't let this happen to our country. And they stood up and they fought. And it wasn't just the people, but actually the politicians too. They were literally like fucking, like, almost damn near sparring with the fucking soldiers. They were hopping over fences to get in. Like, they did the damn shit because they were fighting for democracy. Straight the fuck up. You know what I mean? And good for them for at least doing what they could. And good for the powers that be that didn't just let this shit slide. So I'm happy to see that. Let's see here. Yoon thanks his supporters, saying it was an honor to serve as leader and that he was sorry for not being able to meet your expectations following Friday's ruling, which was met with mixed reactions across the South Korean capital. Excuse me. I'm trying to think if I okay, I didn't skip anything. They go through the recap. Even after his removal from office, Yoon remains dogged by other legal proceedings, including his insurrection trial. The criminal charge is punishable by life imprisonment or death, although South Korea has not executed anyone in decades. Under South Korean law, a general election to choose a new president must be held within 60 days of Yoon's removal. One potential candidate for the country's next president is opposition leader Lee Jae-myung, a former lawyer and lawmaker who narrowly lost to Yoon in the 2022 presidential election. So, I mean, I guess that's who we're rooting for, at least, until I get some further notice or, understanding, at least with some South Korean politics there. Let's see here. I do want to read this little last part before we move on to the next thing. The swift series of events marks a dramatic decline for Yoon, who was once touted as a key ally by former U.S. President Joe Biden. During a White House state dinner in 2023, Yoon stood as the honored guest and sung Don McLean's "American Pie" to a delighted audience. I'm not gonna lie, I find that adorable, mainly because Don McLean is one of my cry songs. It's one of my like. It's up there for me. It's a banger song, and to just I think I actually have heard a clip of it. It reminded me and gave me an excuse to talk about it here, of him singing it, and it's just so weird. It's just so weird. And his haters, his critics were like, "Yeah, dude, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Why are you palling around here like some fucking clown?" And not to mention, he was bringing this clown shit back home. He was being like this in fucking in power. So, to me, this feels like just desserts, and it's nice to see someone have to actually sit down and fucking eat. You know what I mean? So, hell yeah to that. We love to see it. So, yeah, let's move on. We have some more news from one administration to another. We're actually, going from South Korea to the U.S. But let me take a quick water break. Whew. Okay. From CNN. White House fires multiple administration officials after president meets with far-right activist Laura Loomer. Laura fucking Loomer. Ugh. Anyway, the White House has fired multiple administration officials, including at least 4 National Security Council staffers. 3 sources familiar with the move told CNN. The firings came after Laura Loomer, the far-right activist who once claimed 9/11 was an inside job, urged President Donald Trump during a Wednesday meeting to get rid of several members of his National Security Council staff, including his principal deputy national advisor, claiming that they are disloyal. One of the sources said Loomer had compiled a list of roughly a dozen names and that the subsequent firings were a direct result of the meeting with Loomer, who was an influential voice around Trump during his 2024 campaign last fall. They did a meetup, I think, with some firefighters. They mentioned in this article, but it had sparked a lot of rumors because they've hung out, I think, on other occasions, like they've been seen together, and it was just like riling up this whole thing. Is like, are they fucking? Like, is he cheating with her? Is that what's really happening? Maybe they were just sucking off of each other's energy, and this is like kind of a clout farm for both of them. Maybe they just really like each other's vibe. I don't know or fucking care. But Trump defended letting people go when talking to reporters aboard Air Force One on Thursday. Always, we're going to let people go. People that we don't like, or people that we don't think can do the job. People that may have loyalties to someone else, Trump said. But he said Loomer was not involved in Wednesday's firings, calling her a very good patriot. Now, I believe this is an adamant fucking lie. I think Laura Loomer did, and I think he's just like, no, I'm not going to cop to that, though, because I'm just not going to fuel this, because I made the decisions. This was my thing. Even though it's like, you let these people sit, and you're saying, oh, well, now she comes in, and now you actually feel a way about it. But I also don't think that this is like a new thing. I don't think that only Laura Loomer has this ability. Like, when you really break Trump down, like, you can say, yes, he's the guy in charge. He's big fucking papa. But he wants to impress. He wants to be impressed. He, like, wants to have audience with so many people. He wants to have people up his ass. He wants to have people telling him what to do. I think that's a very core thing for Trump. I think it's a thing that it keeps this whole thing going for him in a lot of ways, where it's like, yes, he's the decider, to quote George Bush or what have you, but he wants to have these kind of audiences like he's some fucking king. And like, then he makes these decisions and then says, I did that. That was all me. And if it's bad, then he goes, oh, okay, well, I didn't know. I wasn't sure. What's going on here? Where's the fire? Nothing's that bad. It's nothing wrong. The Trump administration also fired the director and deputy director of National Security Agency. CNN reported late Thursday, which I actually have as a side article, I believe, if it'll come up. USA Today, Trump fires top boss at NSA, nation's elite spy agency. I believe, let's see, it was that General Timothy Haug? I'm not sure how to pronounce his fucking name. I don't know if I really want to get into the guts of that. I really wanted to focus on the Loomer end of this, and we'll kind of move along, but I want to mention that. Principal Deputy National Security Advisor Alex Wong was not among those who had been dismissed on Wednesday. However, one White House official speculated to CNN Thursday that Wong could be out as soon as later that day, though a final decision had not been made. Wong was one of the advisors specifically targeted by Loomer, who publicly questioned his loyalty to Trump and criticized him privately as a never-Trumper. One of the sources speculated that the National Security Advisor Michael Waltz may have been reluctant to fire Wong because he had been embroiled in the controversy surrounding the leak of controversial signal messages related to military strikes on Yemen that Waltz and his team may have been under fire for initiating. The 4 officials include Brian Walsh, a director for intelligence, and a former top staffer for now Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Thomas Broody, a senior director of legislative affairs who previously served as Walt's legislative director in Congress, David Feith, a senior director overseeing technology and national security who served in the State Department during Trump's first administration, and Maggie Daughtry, senior director of international organizations. So yeah, I mean, this was a bit of a bombshell that kind of oozed out into the news. I mean, it makes sense for Loomer to make these accusations, whether they're founded or unfounded, because she wants to make waves. She wants to be seen. Like, this is what she does. This is why she says all this fucking racist, inflammatory stuff. I kind of like that they lead with the whole, because CNN wasn't the only outlet that did this. I've seen others that do it as well, where they lead with the fact that she brings up the fact that 9/11 was an inside job, and then they kind of like get to the point where she comes out as like a proud Islamophobe, even though she's also tried to do the fucking backbending where she says, oh, but I'm not anti-Muslim though. I just never want to have an Uber driver that is Muslim. Like, I just never want to see that. Like, no, get that out of my face. I only want white ones. I want the white Aryan drivers. Oh, she's cringe. I'm paraphrasing half of that. But, goddamn, dude. You know, it's weird, the bedfellows that get together and, you know, they have sway and pull over, you know, our lives. I mean, granted, I don't really care about any of these staff members or whatever and any of these higher ups. You know, they get axed, they get fucking axed. I'm trying to think if there's more to pull here. No, I'm okay. I'm good with this one. And I'm good with the other one. I mean, you can pull the details about Timothy Haug or whatever the fuck his name is. He's gone now. He's done. He's dusted. Apparently, though, he was a Joe Biden administration hire. And I don't know why he was kept this long. Because, like, once again, we've talked before about how, you know, he's been cutting so much staff. And I don't know if the Haug thing is related to Loomer or not. They don't tie that in the USA Today article. So, I mean, that's speculative to say. But, I mean, I guess they all kind of just got bundled. And maybe he was like, yeah, no, I should get rid of this guy. Because, once again, that seems on brand for Trump. I just don't know why he did it so late. But whatever. You know, here we are. Heads rolled. We have one more thing I wanted to cover, and then I'll let you go. You know, we're closing out on a creep. I guess from one freak to another. Anyway, from the BBC, I'll leave you with that before I take our last break, and go ahead and take it with me while we, you know, hopefully are staying dry from the rain. I really hope it's not a rainy weekend. I mean, I don't plan on doing much this weekend, but I don't want to get wet. I'm already over this. I want it to be warm. I need a warm spring, you know. I'm okay with as long as there's no snow. I really am cool. I really am all right as long as there's no snow at this point and the weather is above 30. Like, I can hang with that. You know what I mean? I can do a soggy 50 degrees is what I'm saying here. But I'd rather not, you know, especially as I get older. Like, every few years I feel it. Like, ugh, it's just no good. I hate being cold, you know. The Midwest is not for me, but goddamn, I love the price of living, and I love the people. Anyway, let's take this last break. Ooh-wee. All right. Russell Brand charged with rape and sexual assault. Also, I've kind of gotten to a point now where I know I should probably say trigger warning, but I've also kind of, I you know, forget sometimes. And then also, like, almost every episode should be a trigger warning. Like, I'm covering real news. So, you know, it just is what it is. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry, TikTok. Anyway. Russell Brand has been charged with rape, indecent assault, and sexual assault between 1999 and 2005. The charges relate to 4 separate women. Brand has been interviewed multiple times by police since an investigation by the Sunday Times, The Times, and Channel 4's dispatches in September 2023 revealed, multiple serious allegations against him. In a new video posted on X this afternoon, Brand said, "What I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity." He added, "I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that." In a short statement, the Metropolitan Police said it had written to Brand to inform him that he was being charged with one allegation of rape, one allegation of indecent assault, one of oral rape, and two further counts of sexual assault. The force said it alleged that in 1999, a woman was raped in the Bournemouth area. That's a place in the UK. I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but I just want to make sure that y'all knew I wasn't being weird or funny. Anyway, in 2001, a woman was indecently assaulted in the Westminster area of London. In 2004, a woman was orally raped and sexually assaulted in the Westminster area of London. Again, this was the main area. Between 2004 and 2005, a woman was sexually assaulted in the Westminster area of London. Brand has been told to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on May 2nd, but he is believed to be in the United States. I'm not exactly sure where, but yes, I mean, he's supposed to come and fight the charges. It seems like he is going to, though, at least by the statement he made. So I guess that's good that he's not trying to dodge it. But I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like that'd be hard because you could get extradited, and that would only make this worse for him, I would imagine. So I do think he probably is going to go and face the charges. Let's see. I mean, they go through more of his, background, some other, things that happened in his career that kind of got him up and down, and all around in the space. And I really don't want to go through any more of the details. We've talked about Brand before. We've talked about some of the incidents in a little bit more detail in previous episodes. So I really don't want to, go down that windy road again. But yeah, I think to a certain extent when everything kind of came out, I think people thought like, okay, well, maybe he's getting sued or something like that. So things are going along. But I think it also is understood, especially with my dear listeners, that we kind of knew it's like, okay, they're doing an investigation. So that means they're trying to, get everything together, get everything in order. And now we are just seeing like, yeah, they have probably a lot of evidence. They even asked for people to come forward in this article, if you have any tips or, things, they say, hey, hit us up. Which it means that they're probably just looking for even more evidence. So I kind of get the feeling this is probably going to be more of a slam dunk than maybe Russell Brand likes to maybe let on. But yeah, we'll see how those things go when the times come. But yeah, that is it. That is going to be the episode. We're going to call it there. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. That really helps out. It's a free way to boost the algorithm, help me get to a monetized state via YouTube. That's a thing. Also TikTok. Apparently Walmart's trying to buy TikTok too. They're trying to get their little hat in the ring. Also, apparently, I think Trump, this is bonus news at the end. You're getting a little extra gift here. Trump wrote an executive order to extend the ban delay. So TikTok's still a thing, baby. It's not going away. So yay. Follow me there. Follow me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, what have you, whatever platform you're listening. Just hit that follow button. Leave a like, leave a comment. Sharing is caring. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.